Bruce would be most proud to say and to have people say about him that he was a real human being.
Does the bloodline of a genius always come with a price paid with one's life? Both Bruce Lee and his son Brandon Lee passed away at the peak age of their youth under chillingly bizarre circumstances, leaving behind an unprecedented and unsolved curse.
No internet, nobody knows. He died in somebody's house. Yeah, that's everybody knows.
Treated well. I mean, what happened to Brandon was a tragic accident.
For dozens of years, the world was forced to believe in cold, emotionless autopsy reports. Now, at the age of 79, Linda Lee Cadwell has finally broken that fateful silence.
This was part of Bruce's message of martial arts, is that violence is not the answer to every situation.
The latest statements from the woman who has endured the greatest pain in history will shake the entirety of Hollywood. Who is the true enemy, hidden in the shadows? The answer will make you utterly stunned right now. The early years in the neighborhood, full of volatility in Hong Kong, molded a strong personality, never willing to yield to circumstances of Bruce Lee.
I'm 24 right now.
And you worked in motion pictures in Hong Kong?
Yes, since I was around 6 years old.
In memoirs and research documents on private life history, writer Matthew Polly, in his work, Bruce Lee, A Life, portrayed a realistic picture of a somewhat rebellious teenager, frequently getting caught up in street clashes and chaotic brawls to assert his own ego.
But as a kid, he was a huge troublemaker. He loved to get into street fights. And so his parents decided to send him to America to essentially straighten him out.
In 1959, when he had just turned 18 years old, Bruce Lee officially left his homeland to seek a new path on American soil, a place likened to a promised land, but also riddled with traps and thorns for empty-handed immigrants. Setting foot in San Francisco, the harsh reality quickly splashed a bucket of cold water onto his initial youthful illusions. Amidst a completely unfamiliar culture, loneliness and language barriers were towering ramparts for the young man of the Lee family. To make an independent living day by day, he was forced to throw himself into the hardest manual labor jobs, from washing dishes for hire in cramped food restaurants to poor rental room corners lacking in every possible way. Facing countless adversities and economic pressure weighing heavily on his shoulders, the fighting spirit inside him never faded or faltered. Looking back at this challenging period, those close to him once recorded his resilience through shared thoughts, reflecting Bruce Lee's self-reliant character. I will never accept stepping back before any circumstance, no matter how great the difficulty may be. The true turning point began when Bruce Lee moved to the city of Seattle and stepped into the lecture halls of the University of Washington. Here, innovative thinking in martial arts began to take shape when he boldly opened his first martial arts classes right in the backyard or in narrow spaces to both make a living and spread the unique essence of his martial arts.
Where I lived, and we both went to the University of Washington, he was teaching classes in Kung Fu, what he called Zhanfang Kung Fu.
The Los Angeles Times, in a comprehensive article about the career-building journeys of legends, clearly depicted this period as an important stepping-stone time, where the young martial artist began to overcome stale traditional molds to seek out a uniquely bold path. By the early 1960s, the appearance of Linda Emery, a female college student of American bloodline, brought a completely fresh chapter in Bruce's life. This destined relationship encountered no small amount of gossip and barriers from the social prejudices of that time regarding cross-cultural marriages, but both he and Linda steadfastly overcame all harsh challenges. The dedicated companionship of his future life partner became a massive spiritual backing, helping him stand firm to face the implicit prejudices in an American society that remained closed. This period laid a solid foundation for a legendary life ready to step out into the light of the world. That said, behind those strong upward ambitions, a much more cruel challenge was waiting for Bruce Lee ahead, where the glamorous film capital was preparing to tightly close all doors in front of an Asian talent. The Hollywood door closed tightly. In the 1960s, when the Western entertainment industry was still deeply dominated by rigid and narrow-minded racial prejudices, Bruce Lee nurtured an extremely intense aspiration to completely change the way the image of Asian people was portrayed on the big screen. Instead of accepting faint supporting roles, one-dimensional villains, or stereotyped characters lacking depth. According to old Hollywood traditions, he wanted to assert the position of a true action star, a person carrying a profound philosophy of life and a powerful self-strength to conquer the mass public. Even so, the harsh reality in Hollywood slapped straight into those great dreams and ambitions with a solid wall of prejudice that was not easy to topple down. The peak of injustice and disregard for his capability was the television project titled Kung Fu, a revolutionary idea that Bruce Lee had meticulously researched, scripted, and developed to pitch to major film studios here. In complete contrast to the expectation of a well-deserved life-changing opportunity, powerful producers at Warner Bros. Bluntly refused to hand over the male lead role to Bruce. The reason given by authorities at that time carried a heavy color of open and condescending racism. They asserted firmly that the American mass audience would never accept an Asian origin actor to undertake the male lead role on national television waves. The door of opportunity officially closed before Bruce's eyes when that important role was ultimately given to David Carradine, a white actor made up to transform into an Asian character. This deeply derogatory event dealt a fatal blow to his self-respect and artistic career, clearly exposing the systematic, oppressive nature of Hollywood during that period. Amidst the time when financial pressure weighed heavily on his shoulders, the everyday life of the small family of Bruce and Linda also fell into scarcity, struggling to manage every single dollar of expensive living costs in California. To maintain family life and continue pursuing his passion for martial arts, without a minute of slack, Bruce Lee was forced to manage by opening private martial arts training classes, directly standing in class to teach famous stars of that time like Steve McQueen or James Coburn. Even with the opportunity to contact the upper class and big names of the American entertainment village, Bruce was still only recognized as a high-level trainer behind the scenes, rather than a cinematic talent worthy of being honored at the front line. Variety, in later retrospective articles on Hollywood's history of racism, once stated that the cold rejection given to Bruce was one of the biggest strategic mistakes of major film studios in missing out on a talent with a vision surpassing the era. Successive injustices from major film studios did not cause his fighting spirit to collapse, but on the contrary, it forged even more determination to break every imposed limit. In private conversations with his wife, Linda, Bruce repeatedly expressed outrage at the condescending attitude of white filmmakers while affirming his own value through strong shares. "I was not born to be a shadow for others, and this world will have to recognize my talent through my own genuine capability." The bitterness and extreme disappointment from Hollywood turned into a colossal pressure, forcing Bruce Lee to squeeze out every drop of sweat and physical strength in high-intensity workouts to prove himself. Even so, that very fanaticism to an extreme degree pushed his body to the brink of exhaustion. Behind the aura of determination, a devastating physical disaster was silently lurking, preparing to deal a fatal blow that could completely crush the future of a martial artist. Injury and awakening. In 1970, during a high-intensity training session aimed at pushing physical limits at his private gym, Bruce Lee suffered an extremely serious spine injury. Being too impatient and skipping thorough warm-up steps according to his usual habit, the nerve part of his sacral region was heavily damaged. That fateful fall not only caused him to collapse on the spot, but also pushed a perfect body, once praised as a combat machine, into an indefinite, painful darkness. The verdict from specialized doctors at that time was like a death sentence to the career of a professional martial artist. Doctors bluntly announced that the spinal injury was so heavy that it could make him never able to throw a high kick or return to the fighting ring again. Facing the harsh reality, Bruce Lee was forced to spend many months bedridden, absolutely not permitted to move strongly unless he wanted to be crippled for life. For a person accustomed to movement, always considering action as the reason for living, being confined on a hospital bed brought mental torture far greater than the physical pains tormenting him every day. In the deep research book about this legendary life named Bruce Lee, a life author, Matthew Polly, recorded the deep crisis period when Bruce Lee fell into a state of depression, confusion, and ultimate despair. There were times when he'd almost collapsed mentally, asking himself whether his artistic journey truly had to stop permanently at the age of 30. Even so, instead of surrendering to adversity or accepting the grim fate imposed by medicine, Bruce chose to stand up from the very ashes of helplessness, with an extraordinary inner strength never seen in an ordinary person. Unable to move his flexible legs, which were his pride, Bruce decided to shift all his immense energy to the activity of intellect and thinking. Lying on a sickbed in a narrow space, he requested relatives to bring a series of study books on Western philosophy, human psychology, classical military strategy, and various schools of thought. Right in that most critical circumstance of 1970, the famous philosophical foundation of flexibility and adaptive agility was deeply shaped, laying the first foundation bricks for an independent combat mindset system. Looking back at the challenging period of exile on his sickbed, Linda once shared about her husband's unbelievably steadfast will when Bruce brushed aside all advice to find his own path to healing through his own iron will. "No one has the right to determine my limits except myself, no matter how terrible adversity may be." This resilient perspective on life helped Bruce, step by step, self-recover his body. Through specialized physical exercises, he researched and applied himself regardless of worry from family and doctors. The miraculous recovery from a body once thought crippled not only proved his fierce vitality, but also completed a major turning point in awareness. The dark period of 1970 closed, paving the way for the greatest and most resounding explosive steps on the global screen. Even so, when the pinnacle of fame was just reached, it was also the time when hidden perils from dark forces began to surround, preparing to crush the legend in a gloomy July night in Hong Kong. The fateful night in Kowloon. After leaving Hollywood with unresolved injustices, Bruce Lee decided to return to Hong Kong and sign a contract with Golden Harvest of producer Raymond Chow, a decision that completely changed the landscape of Asian cinema. In just a short time, the explosion of classic works like The Big Boss and Fist of Fury brought his name to a new height, turning the young man who had struggled to make a living on American soil into a global superstar with overwhelming appeal. The peak of glory came in 1973 with the film Enter the Dragon, co-produced by Warner Bros., officially opening the door to bring Eastern martial arts to completely conquer Western audiences. Even so, behind that brilliant radiance and echoing applause lay a colossal pressure silently surrounding Bruce's life. Rapid fame, together with huge financial resources, began to attract prying eyes and dangerous underground forces in Hong Kong at that time. According to recorded files about his final period, Bruce Lee got entangled in many tense conflicts with local producers and had to face persistent rumors about the involvement of notorious criminal organizations wanting to control the cash flow along with his film projects. In his final months and days, tension and a sense of insecurity were clearly visible in every gesture. Those close to him once recorded this psychological change through his anxious shares, about the surrounding environment. There are forces tracking my every move, and things are not as simple as they look. Pressure from fame, public expectations, and hidden threats in the shadows drain the strength of a person who always lived to the fullest for art. Grim Destiny officially closed on July 20th, 1973, a shocking milestone that left the world stunned and infinitely mournful. On that fateful evening, Bruce Lee was present at the apartment of actress Betty Ting Pei to discuss the script of the upcoming film named Game of Death. During the meeting, he felt severe headaches and was given a common pain relief medication named Equagesic before taking a nap to rest. Even so, that short nap lasted forever, and the greatest martial arts star in the world never woke up again. When found unconscious and brought to Queen Elizabeth Hospital, doctors could only determine that Bruce Lee had passed away at the age of 32, leaving a giant void that could never be filled in the hearts of global fans. The official autopsy results from medical authorities at the time gave the cause of death as the cerebral edema phenomenon, also known as cerebral edema, originating from a hypersensitive reaction to the chemical components present in the painkiller pill. Even so, this medical explanation never extinguished deep suspicions from public opinion and international media. A series of shocking hypotheses continuously rose up on major newspapers of that time, like the South China Morning Post, from suspicions about the intervention of competitors in the film industry to gruesome rumors about an arrangement from powerful underground gangs. The sudden departure of someone with a perfect physical foundation like Bruce Lee created a picture full of unknowns without fully answered solutions. Throughout the following decades, Linda Lee Cadwell chose to face the tragedy with silence and steadfastly protect the legacy of her late husband against malicious speculations. The abrupt end of Bruce Lee not only put an end to a martial arts legend, but also opened up a historical mystery lasting throughout the past half-century, leaving deep echoes and an unremitting obsession in the public heart. Even so, that tragedy, which seemed to have closed, continued to repeat in a haunting manner when Grim Destiny unexpectedly called out the name of the sole heir, sparking chilling rumors about a true dark curse hauntingly clinging to the family line. The Curse of the Lee Family. Exactly 2 decades after the shocking departure of the legendary father, Grim Destiny once again struck a fatal blow down to the small family of Linda Lee Cadwell in 1993. On the film set of the motion picture, the Crow, Brandon Lee, the succeeding son and great hope of the family, permanently passed away in an extremely rare accident related to prop guns. The chillingly bizarre coincidence between the deaths of the father and son of the Lee family, when both were at a promising young age, with careers at a dazzling peak, immediately stirred up gruesome rumors across international newspapers about a mysterious curse haunting the family line. Amidst the storm of public opinion and conspiracy, theories continuously woven to attract customers, Linda Lee Cadwell once again had to face the ultimate pain of a mother losing her child, a loss so great that it seemed nothing could ever compensate for it in that woman's soul. Bearing extremely harsh mental shocks from life, Linda Lee Cadwell never collapsed or gave in to that grim adversity. Instead, with resilient fortitude forged through countless storms, she chose to stand firm to protect and maintain the priceless spiritual legacy that Bruce Lee left for humanity. Along with the support of close ones and those dedicated to martial arts, she officially established the Bruce Lee Foundation, a non-profit organization carrying the mission to preserve study and spread unique philosophical thoughts, meticulous handwritten manuscripts, and the freestyle martial arts system, Jeet Kune Do, that Bruce Lee painstakingly built throughout his short and heroic life. People magazine, in a later article honoring the energetic life of Linda Lee Cadwell, once recorded her silent but immense contributions in preserving the image of a legend from being distorted by time or malicious rumors. Looking back at the long journey full of thorns and loss, Linda Lee Cadwell once shared the reason why she had to stand resiliently before all the storms of life to protect her late husband's name. "My greatest duty is to ensure that the world will always remember Bruce, not just through punches on the screen, but through a brilliant mind and a timelessly great personality." That tireless dedication helped Bruce Lee's core values cross beyond the boundaries of a mere martial arts school to become a source of living inspiration and foundational lessons for millions of people globally. Half a century has passed since the day the world lost a great martial arts monument, but the influence and unknowns behind Bruce Lee's life have never cooled down. Through bitter ups and downs, the harsh discrimination of the era, and unfully resolved mysteries, what remains rising above all else is an immortal spiritual legacy. Thanks to the steadfastness and silent protection of Linda Lee Cadwell, the fire that Bruce Lee lit has never gone out. His life is a vivid testament to the flexible but resilient philosophy where every limit can be toppled down by iron will and a great mind. If this video brings you fresh and deep perspectives on the life of the legend, Bruce Lee, do not hesitate to click the like button to support the production crew, share the video widely to those sharing the same passion, and click subscribe to the channel so as not to miss the next historical documentary footage.